Hi y'all, it's Farmer's Wife here again. I know y'all have been asking a lot about the tobacco planting and the different types of tobacco. So I thought I'd put together a video here just describing the different types of tobacco and the way that we plant our tobacco. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Farming from Above for coming up and doing these videos for us. He was using his drone to do that for us, and I appreciate that. Right now, what we're planting is PA 41. This is tobacco that is mainly for wrappers. The other tobaccos that we plant here on this farm are 609 and Burley. The Burley is a tobacco that is used in cigars and cigarettes, and the 609 is strictly for cigarettes. The other type of tobacco that is planted in this area, but we have not planted it all on this farm, is Green River tobacco, and that is what they use for chew. So that's just a breakdown of the different types of tobacco that are planted in this area. This is the tobacco planter that we are using. It is a Chetchy and McGill planter. And it makes it a lot easier for the farmer's son to help out. It is a cup planter. You can see the cups there on the back of the chairs. You can increase the height of the cups if you would want to for taller plants. You can also plant vegetables with this, like tomatoes and peppers and other sorts of plants like that. But we use it here for our tobacco. And hopefully in these videos you'll be able to see a little bit better on how the plants are placed into the cups and how they go into the ground. This is actually not the first planter that we started with. The first planter that we started with was a Hershey planter. Some of you guys might remember those. In those, the person sat basically on the ground and you had to place the plant into the ground. And it was a lot harder for younger kids to help out with. So it's nice that we have this one. So here you can see a little bit from the side. You see the round shiny metal piece. That's a coulter that cuts a groove in the ground, which allows the shoe to come behind it. The shoe actually has a plastic piece that will place the tobacco plant into the ground. And then you have the red wheels on the very back there, and that's the closing wheel. Now, I have to give a shout out to the farmer because he did design most of this. The actual planting part is the only part that came from Italy. The rest of it is his design. He had them put on the coulters, the cutting wheels, the tanks, and designed the way the tobacco was, the tobacco holding racks were. He also designed it to be more like a corn planter so that it wouldn't tip back, and provided the weight that we needed. The other planters that we had here that were not designed by him just didn't do a good enough job for us, so he came up with the idea of how to attach everything else to this particular planter. The nice thing about this planter is that you can adjust to the soil type that you are planting in. You can adjust the depth that the plant is being planted at. You can also adjust the way the closing wheels close the ground around the plant. It makes it nice for all different types of tobacco. You can see there we were turning the water off. There is a valve that you have to turn water on and off every time that you stop and go. The water does go with the plant, so when a plant goes in the ground, it gives it a shot of water to go along with the plant. That allows the plant to have a good start. We add fertilizers to the water. We also add a chemical for insects to allow the plants to get a good start. The carriers that you see me changing out there are foam. They are what is used in the greenhouses to start the plants in. They actually float in water. in an aqua bed, and that is how we get all of our plants. The greenhouse that we get our plants from also starts out 609 and Burley as well. And the plants pull out fairly easy from the foam carriers, depending on how long they've been in. I know some people were asking how long the plants are good outside of the greenhouse that we get them from. They are good as long as you keep them moist and they don't get too big. If they get too big, you can trim them back. You just have to make sure that you're not trimming the hearts out. That will kill the plant. So, and also if they are too big, they kind of get stuck in the cups a little bit. So it's nice to have a shorter plant to plant in the cups. There you can see you kind of have to throw the plants in the cups, make sure they get good contact with the bottom so that when the carousel goes around, they actually do get planted in the ground. The other thing that we're watching for as we're planting is to make sure that the ground's not getting caught up in the wheel and the plants are getting planted properly into the ground. The farmer does hit the ground with a turbo tiller just to loosen it up and make it nice and smooth for planting. But there are times that you get into some ground that's not quite the way you would like it, and you just have to keep an eye on the planter as it goes around. So you can see out to the sides we have markers. Those are to maintain the spacing between the rows. We do plant the rows 36 inches apart. Each plant is set to be planted 22 inches apart. That allows for growing. The 36-inch apart rows allows for the cultivator to go through and not damage the plants when we're ready to cultivate. We will do 20 rows and then a drive-through, and then 20 more rows and another drive-through. That allows us for the sprayer to go through. The sprayer booms reach out for 10 rows of tobacco, so when there's a drive-through they can do 10 rows on one side, and then the other drive-through they do the other 10 rows. It also allows for air to go through and dry out the plants. Blue mold is a big hitter on these plants if you're not making sure that they're staying dry, and that can damage the plants. So we like to do a drive-through, and that helps to keep airflow through the plants, as well as allow us for a driveway to spray them. Typically with 2-season planters, we run the planter around 1.2 miles an hour. We were running a little bit slower here because the farmer's son has shown an interest in helping out, and we like them to keep an interest in farming, so we like to allow them to help when they can. And he does a really good job at it, so we're pretty proud of him for helping out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit of an overview on the different types of tobacco there are, what they're used for, what we plant here, and what's planted in this area. Also, I tried to touch on a little bit of how we get our plants and why they are in the white carriers. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Hopefully you were able to see a little bit better of how the back of the planter works through this video, the adjustments that the farmer has made to this particular planter, and the spacings on the plants and the rows, and why we do things the way that we do them. If you have any other questions, I'll try to do another video answering those questions. I know we don't always get to the questions when they're posted, but I will try to answer questions in another video down the road. So don't be afraid to ask your questions. I hope you enjoyed this little video. And as always, have a great day.